Hi, it's past me, Mac. Before we get started today's show, let's hear a word from our sponsors, shall we?
Hey, podcast yo, you listen to the podcast? Yeah? Cool, let me give you some knowledge real quick. Your data is currently running the risk of being stolen by hackers on whatever device you're on, and that's why you should try Surfshark VPN. It's fast and easy to use and jam-packed with so many features. Put it on unlimited devices and secure your data with industry-leading measures by using uncrackable encryption and the most secure VPN protocols. You can also change your IP address to access different servers Surfshark has to offer. This helps too for your options for streaming, like myself. Say if you're on Netflix and you want to watch Shaun of the Dead, but you live in the United States. You ain't gonna get it on Netflix in the United States. It's not gonna happen. But with Surfshark, you can change your IP and location to get on the UK servers, and boom, you're watching Shaun of the Dead. It's that simple. Go to surfshark.deal/MMR17 in the description below and use my promo code MMR17 to get 83% off and an extra 3 months free. And it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, as well as access to 24/7 customer support. It's that good, man. Trust me, it's pretty good. Again, go to surfshark.deal/MMR17 and use my promo code MMR17 to get 83% off and an extra 3 months for free. It's worth it. Thanks, Surfshark VPN.
Now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Yo, I hit the jeweler, got some goals. I sold a little weed, but I could never sell my soul. And when I'm in LA, you find me out in Lil Tote. Come a vocal with my ramen, I'ma need another bowl. Let's go.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the M&K Productions podcast. I'm your host, Matt, joined here as usual by my co-host, Christian, aka Miss Mingo. Say hi to the folks at home, Christian.
Hey guys, it's back. It's another Sunday. We're recording on a Sunday, enjoying the nice summer weather we have, ready to talk some movies with our special guest today.
Yeah, that's right. We got a special guest, the one and only Elliot from Moviefiles. Welcome to the show, man. It is so awesome to have you on.
Yo, what's going on, guys? I appreciate you guys having me on. You guys have been crushing it, and I'm so glad to be able to join the conversation.
Oh, no problem, man. We've wanted you on for forever at this point, like Christian said earlier.
Yeah, every time I wanted to bring Elliot on, Elliot has not, talking about us killing it, you are just killing it and crushing it. Just every single word I can think of that's dominating YouTube nowadays. Every time I see you on my algorithm, just puts you up at the top of my list. So I'm always watching.
Yeah, same.
Watching, keeping up with the live streams, even with the television recaps. You are killing it. Honestly, you are becoming one of the great YouTube film reviewers and commentators. How does it feel to be now in that game? Because now you are sitting at 12 or something like that? I forgot what it was.
2,000 subscribers he has.
What was it?
He has 13,000
13? Oh my God. See, you're killing it.
Well, I appreciate it. I don't think I'm one of the best out there. Not quite yet, but no, it's a fun space. I've been doing the YouTube thing for, man, it'll be 4 years in September, and it's a journey, man. It's just I always been a fan of film and television in particularly, and I just love talking about it, whether it's good or bad, and obviously the conversation surrounding it. So yeah, it's a fun community that I've been building so far, and just continue and happy to continue the road to success. So yeah.
Nice. So I wanted to ask you, Elliot, just in case whoever's listening to this podcast doesn't know who you are, where could they find you, and what do you have? What would you recommend people if they're stopping by your channel for the first time? What's something they can watch to get a feel of what your style is?
Yeah, man. So yeah, I mean, most of my content is on YouTube, and it's pretty much just your standard review channel in regards to covering your latest movies, big blockbuster stuff. I'm a big genre person, so I try to bring to the channel a lot of smaller independent stuff, especially in the last couple of years, whether it be A24, IFC, a lot of those smaller independent neon movies, horror, comedy, drama, you name it. So I love kind of bringing those independent films and shows to the show or to my channel to have people kind of explore and have a dialogue around it. But of course, we got Marvel, we got DC, we got Star Wars, and I talk all that good stuff as well. So movie reviews, TV reviews, something I started last year was doing some live streams, whether it was the watch-alongs we did last year or conversations about shows like Lovecraft Country, or in the last couple months it's been the Marvel MCU WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and now Loki. So having live discussions about those every week has been fun. So yeah, man, if those are things you guys like, check me out on YouTube. And every now and then, I'm not as heavy on the Instagram as I used to be, but you know, I try to post sometimes mini reviews from movies and shows I watch, and also, you know, tweet some cool things out when we see people getting casted or whatnot. So, but definitely, like I said, YouTube is where a lot of my content's at.
Okay, and of course, everyone's listening. You can find Elliot's details in the link down in the description on YouTube. But to getting the introduction out of the way, on today's show, we're going to be going into some film news, particularly talking about a certain car movie that just came out that is making all the money. And then we're going to be reviewing Warner Brothers' new In the Heights film, which is, that's a movie. And then we're going to be answering some questions sent in by you lovely people, and discussing what we've been watching lately. So we're done with all this. Let's get right into the news.
This is CNN.
All right, so starting off with the news today, Fast Furious 9, we're recording on June 27th, just came out on June 25th. And have you guys seen Fast Furious 9 yet?
You ride, we ride.
Rated PG-13.
No, I don't intend to.
Yeah, I got a chance to see it in theaters. What was that, last Tuesday, I believe, or Monday or Tuesday last week?
Yeah, I saw you were like on your, because I like, you know, everyone should go follow you on your socials, on your Instagram. And I saw that you got to see a nice advanced screening of it. But how was it? Just in case if anybody didn't get a chance to see your review, did you like it or no?
So, look, long story short, I like the Fast and Furious franchise. It's a franchise, and this sounds like a broken record. It knows what it is at this point, but even this one is kind of a completely different film. Well, not completely different, but it just goes to the highest levels of absurdity and ridiculousness that I've seen in the franchise so far, and not necessarily in a good way, because a lot of the logical sense of the films have kind of been thrown out, and I feel like they're running out of ideas. They're running, you know, I put it in my Instagram review that the gas tank is kind of running on E, and the tires are kind of running flat because the franchise at this point is just kind of just. I feel like, you know, rest in peace to Paul Walker, but I feel like his presence has been sorely missed in the last two films. The writer, Chris Morgan, wasn't attached to this one. I kind of felt that with this film. And Dominic Toretto, man, he's Superman for sure, but at this point in the franchise, he just seems so stale and bored, and I don't know, it just wasn't what I was expecting as far as seeing all, you know, previous 9 films, if you include Hobbs and Shaw. It just was kind of at the bottom of the barrel for me as far as rankings go. I wasn't the biggest fan of the film.
Well, guess what? It doesn't matter, because this past weekend it's made $70 million at the box office. So screw the fans and critics. It's making money, and worldwide it has made $404 million worldwide. It's already broken even of its $200 million budget, and it is clocking in at the 3rd highest grossing movie of 2021, and it is quote unquote bolstering the box office in the pandemic era.
I mean, it's bringing back people to the movies, which makes me happy.
I mean, it's your stereotypical, you know, as they say, silly popcorn and enjoying yourself summer flick, and it has those entertaining values. It's just when you try to make sense of things, that's when I think the critic, like even in my review, I said I tried to shut my brain off, but you know, even at certain points, seeing so many movies, just like, can we have at least a cohesive story with some logical things going on? But no, the logic is definitely thrown out with this one.
Mac, are you seeing it?
I'm gonna see it next. I'm gonna see it this coming Saturday with a bunch of friends. But it's funny, Elliot, you mentioned Paul Walker's absent, and I remember a few years ago on a podcast I listened to, they were talking about this when Furious 7 came out, and they said like you kind of need someone like a Paul Walker to bounce off Vin Diesel, because Vin Diesel's not a terrible actor. He's just serviceable, okay, but like I can't see him carrying a movie without being like an ensemble cast or having like a charismatic co-star. But like since Paul Walker has passed away, there's nothing really. It's just Vin Diesel, and you know, Vin Diesel. I can't see him carrying a movie because he has one emotion. It's just Vin Diesel.
Yeah, no, 100%. And they tried to, the co-star in this one, I guess they would say would be John Cena, and I didn't even really mention him because he was kind of forgettable. And I actually like John Cena, but he was not good. He had no chemistry at all with anyone in this film. And speaking of Paul Walker, The Rock was sorely missed in this film too, because even with The Rock being, you know, carrying missiles, disrecting missiles and aid, and even grabbing a helicopter in Hobbs and Shaw. You can kind of believe it because The Rock is a kind of a real life superhero, but even The Rock was sorely missed, as well as Jason Statham was missed in this film. So, yeah, it just wasn't a film for me.
Okay, so anybody who's been keeping up on the release date of Denis Villeneuve's Dune, it now has been pushed back to 3 weeks. So that's right. Instead of opening on October 1st, the new release date is set to open on October 22nd. So it'll be available on the same day as HBO Max and in theaters. So how do you guys feel about the new change of events? And do you plan on seeing it in theaters or going to see it on HBO Max?
Elliot, you can go first.
Yeah. I mean, so this is for you all that do not know, Denis Villeneuve is my favorite director working in Hollywood. I don't think he's made a bad film. All his films are pretty much either 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10s for me. And I think he's just a great director, such a cerebral director, and I actually prefer his kind of sensibilities more so than my second favorite director working right now, which is Christopher Nolan. But yeah, this is easily 2 years in a row because it was supposed to come out last year. It was my most anticipated of 2020. Obviously, we know it got delayed to later this year. So with that being said, it was still my most anticipated movie this year. Again, I just mentioned my love for the director, but also, I mean, literally all of essentially my top 7, 8 actors are in this film. I'm a big fan of Timothée Chalamet. I like Zendaya, Javier Bardem, Josh Brolin, Jason Momoa, Rebecca Ferguson. I mean, literally the list goes on and on. So I love the cast, and I'm actually a fan of the lore of Dune. I've seen the David Lynch 1983 film, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but even with that film being kind of bad, you can still see all of the sci-fi, the world building, the spice, the space worms, all that stuff is still there, but it just wasn't executed that well. And I've actually been wanting to read the book for the longest time, Frank Herbert's Dune, which has inspired things like Star Wars and Star Trek and a lot of sci-fi films that we love. So I'm a sci-fi head. I love the director, love the cast, and I cannot wait. Now, to answer your initial question as far as the release date goes, I think it's kind of weird that, well, not weird, but it just kind of, unfortunately, a lot of films were delayed. And on that day, if I'm not mistaken, there's 3 other films that I'm super excited for. The new Paul Anderson film. You have, Last Night in Soho. And there was something else that was coming out. So that day.
Jackass, I'm not too concerned about.
Jackass 4 is wow, guys, I can't believe grandfather's doing these pranks still. But 3 of those other films I'm really excited for. So it'll be interesting to see. I think they're going to win the box office, but still, it's going to be interesting to see that box office battle between those kind of, because low-key Doom is kind of like an independent film with the way these actors are kind of, their resumes are, and obviously Denis Villeneuve's approach to big blockbuster films, very independent feels. So I guess we're getting 3 independent, somewhat blockbuster films coming out in one day.
Not even that. The French Dispatch also comes out that weekend too.
Yeah. Yep.
So that is going to be the most craziest weekend I'll probably be at the movies for. I'm just going to be going to the movies at least once a day. For that weekend, or I'll just do a double feature back to back and just pray to God I don't fall asleep for any of these movies. So, I mean, I'm not too crazy about having them move it. I think it's going to be an interesting battle, like you said, who takes, the crown that weekend.
Yeah.
But however, I don't think any of those films will take the crown still, because the weekend before, that's when Halloween Kills comes out. And I think a lot of people are going to be busy going to that film instead of, Dune and Last Night in Soho. I think it's going to be a rough weekend then, but only time will tell. Mac, what else? Are you going to see it on HBO Max, or are you going to head to the theaters?
Well, I'm going to just say this real quick, because I've been saying it for months now. Dune is how do I say it? Dune is you got to be really into sci-fi to I want to say appreciate it a little bit, because I didn't know what Dune was, and then I looked it up oh, this seems cool, but is it gonna capture me as a theater goer to go see it? But I'm watching on HBO Max, so I know Denis Villeneuve was having a fit earlier this year saying that, hey, I want my movie in theaters. I was well, think about it. If Dune came out in theaters and HBO Max, you can recoup just in case there's any losses for this coming fall. Because you don't know what's going to happen in the fall. It's always, this evolving world. So Dune, you can watch it just in HBO Max. You don't have to go anywhere and watch it. And you can still get the experience because it's going to be in the 4K, Dolby image. But I'm I'm intrigued by it. I have no idea about Dune, like what the world is. I know Batista's in it, so that's intriguing. But I'm my attention has been caught. That's all I'll say.
I'm so excited, especially for a new Denis Villeneuve film. I am just the biggest fan of his. I've been following his career for the longest time. I could remember seeing Prisoners in theaters, and then after that, just watching some of his older stuff, like finding little clips, and then even his stuff as he has evolved. I would say over the last 8 years or so, with Arrival and Sicario. I mean, they're all amazing projects what he's worked on, especially anime too. I just adore everything he does, so I'm just excited. I'm just happy. But I'm kind of bummed because I wish I was going to the Venice Film Festival because the film is set to open or, take place at the festival. So I think it's going to be like September 3rd. So if you're in Venice and you can catch the film,
lucky.
Have fun.
Lucky.
Yeah.
But yeah. What's your next piece of news, Mac?
Okay, so who's a fan of Quentin Tarantino? Speaking of directors.
That's my guy.
Oh yeah, I mean, who isn't at this point?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, you know how we said that he was going to make 9 films and he would retire.
Yep.
Well, recently he came out and said that he considered making a Reservoir Dogs reboot as his final film before changing his mind.
Here are your names. Mr. White.
If you get a customer or an employee who thinks he's Charles Bronson, take the butt of your gun and smash their nose in.
Mr. Blonde.
If they hadn't done what I told them not to do, they'd still be alive.
Mr. Orange.
Yeah, she killed me, man.
Mr. Pink.
Why am I Mr. Pink?
Who cares what your name is?
Yeah, that's easy for you to say. You're Mr. White. You have a cool-sounding name.
Thank God, because I would not be down for that. I'm be honest with you. I don't know. It's just I like Quentin because he's very original with his ideas, but like making a reboot of a film he already did, I can see what he wants from it because if you think about it, Reservoir Dogs is kind of an underrated classic that he's done. That and Jackie Brown for me. But like, I don't know. It's just seeing that in theaters, I'm like, would people get it? Like in 20 whatever it comes out in? Like, would people like it more than they did in 1992?
Yeah, no, that's a good point that Mac brings up. And I saw the clip too when he was on Bill Maher talking about that, and kind of the conversation was in regards to like the reason he wants to retire after this 10th film is he wants to go out on top and doesn't want to be overwhelm his stay or make a bad film. Which look at his resume. I like literally all of his films except for maybe Death Proof. I wasn't the biggest fan of that film, but everything else to me is top tier for my taste. But just looking at his career, Reservoir Dogs, as Mac brought up, was 1992 and was his first official film. So I think maybe the idea of like, wow, it would be interesting to go out on top, to remake or reboot or reintroduce to a newer generation my film that I first was introduced to in Hollywood and try to. Obviously, when he made that film, I think he had like less than like $1 million to make it. The cast was incredible, and he had to like kind of really beg some of these higher actors during the 90s to really come onto the project. So obviously, fast forward to him being in the industry for over 30 years, he's had, was working with Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio. So obviously, he can bring in a bigger talent, Margot Robbie. So it would have been interesting to kind of if it was reintroducing or rebooting, it would have been interesting. And again, just knowing that was his first film and that would be his last film, a reboot of it. But like Max said, he's all about originality. He's all about bringing something new to the table. So I'm glad that he decided to, it was a nice sentiment to think of that in a way of, bringing it back to the forefront. But I'm happy to see that he's maybe doing something more original. And hey, we talk about Kill Bill 3 being maybe his final film. Technically that wouldn't be a sequel, but I would love to see him go out on top with something either original or potentially like Kill Bill 3 finale.
That wouldn't be too bad. But I was surprised with the comment like Reservoir Dogs. I wasn't even thinking that. I was thinking maybe like, I don't know, like a continuation of maybe a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but I don't know how we would feel about going in a different era, but
I don't think that would work.
You don't think so?
No, because it's just, I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is good for that era of Hollywood because you think it was a love letter to like the fading times of the 60s Hollywood, and then when Sharon Tate was murdered, that's when like that whole aura of like fairy tale Hollywood died. I think Tarantino, with besides that ending, which is I love that ending, it's freaking hilarious. But like
I love that ending. Yeah, it's great.
that ending was just like I think it was just like kind of like a fairy tale ending of like what it could have been like. I don't think it needs like a continuation because it would just feel kind of manufactured in a way.
Very good point.
But that's all the news I got. What about you?
Okay, our last piece of news. Lena Dunham is set to tackle the Polly Pocket movie starring Lily Collins. Something I did not think we needed a movie for. I mean, we're getting the Barbie movie, but, that's set to, tackle with Margot Robbie in it. And now we're getting Polly Pocket with Lily Collins. I figure, it's no surprise to me that Lily Collins has been casted in it, given the fact, she is, like, the fashionista kind of girl. I used to play with Polly Pockets when I was a young child. But, however, I'm not too crazy about the biggest fan of Lena Dunham. So, how do you guys feel about this recent casting and Lena Dunham taking on a brand new toy product for young children to see?
I like how you're criticizing the choice of it, but you're not recognizing the fact that it's a Polly Pocket movie. Like, this is the issue that I have. It's like, why Polly Pocket? They're the almost random toy.
Well, it was popular back in the, early 2000s. I mean, if you look at the original Polly Pockets, they were really, really iconic and nostalgia. So I think that's why. But my criticism is because of Lena Dunham. I'm not a huge fan of hers and, how she is and, how do you guys feel?
Yeah, no, this is way past my time in regards to the popularity of the toy and all that stuff. So I'm not really too sure. So it'll be interesting to see how they carry on, if it is based on the toys, if they put that in the subtitle, if that is the title of the film, or if it's kind of inspired by that particular toy and kind of goes its own route. Because again, Lena, she normally plays in kind of the more mature rated R realms from Girls and other stuff that I've seen her be attached to. So I'm not sure. I'm not saying she can't have a film that's more kid friendly, but I just don't think her sensibilities as a writer and director kind of suits that type of audience. So it'll be interesting to see if it is just like kind of inspired by the toy and kind of goes from there. Because you might, obviously, Kristen, you grew up with the toys. Was there I know they do like these little mini movies of toys back in the day, like straight to DVD. Was there like was there a film about this at one point, a story?
From what I remember, there was one. They were pretty much like the Barbie movies, from what I remember. So, they played it, I think, one time on Nickelodeon. Then all of a sudden you saw it, at Walmart the next day advertising for people to buy it. But that's the only film, I remember that was actually released. There might have been another one, but I'm not 100% sure. But, it's interesting because it is a Mattel project, and Mattel has been working with other studios over the last few years.
I'm looking at the list here of films that they've had slated, from American Girl, Barbie, as you mentioned, Barney, Hot Wheels.
Yeah, because they're
Magic
also working
8 Ball,
on that Barney movie with Jordan Peele. So
Jordan
we can't
Peele,
forget that.
Oh man, of course, Masters of the Universe, Thomas and Friends. So it's just my thing is, I don't know who the target audience is, because a lot of those people like myself that grew up with maybe some of these IPs is just I'm an adult now. I don't know if I still have that love for those toys or the IP. So I don't know. I think these are straight to streaming movies to me personally. I don't know if it has enough box office draw.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm sorry. I think it was Daniel Kaluuya. My apologies.
Yeah, it was Daniel Kaluuya. Barney.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
A Barney project. I was thinking it's in the
Get
I'm
Out.
thinking it's gonna be a horror project, not a Barney horror movie. But yeah, that's the only news I got on my end. Mac, do you want to add one more thing to the Polly Pocket, or no? Should we move on to today's?
I don't care about Polly Pocket, but where's that $200 million Hello Kitty movie? And yes, that is real. They're making a $200 million Hello Kitty movie.
Hey, with that, I know they have a target audience. I wouldn't be surprised if that was a big hit.
Yeah, honestly.
Hello Kitty fans out there.
But yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, I would watch it though if it's Hello Kitty. Why not? It might be really cute. I mean, do you know who's set to be in that? Because I didn't know about this until now.
They announced it 5 years ago, and they've been we're gonna do it. It's gonna be $200 million. We're gonna do it eventually. Yeah, screw Polly Pocket. Bring back Bratz. Bring everything.
Oh my god, I was a Bratz kid.
Back. Like, who needs a Polly Pocket movie? Like, I'll probably watch it because
Well, there was a Bratz movie. Remember? It
that
had
doesn't count.
Chelsea Stubb. I saw that movie in theaters when I was a child. I liked it. Don't come at me.
That doesn't count. But yeah, I don't. I hope it. This is probably gonna be a bad movie, so I'll probably watch it anyway because I like trash.
That needs to go on a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm actually gonna get that on merch. Put that down.
Yeah. But that's all the news we got. If you got any Polly Pocket related news or any film news you want to give us, you can always send it to our inbox at MNK Productions Podcast on Instagram. But without further ado, let's get into the topic of In the Heights.
Once upon a time, in a faraway land called Washington Heights. It's the story of a block that was disappearing.
My mom is Dominican, Cuban. My dad is from Chile and PR, which means I'm Chile, Dominic, Rican. But I always say I'm from Queens.
Say, so it doesn't disappear.
Washington Heights!
In the Heights, rated PG-13.
All right, guys. So the topic for today, chosen by not only Elliot, our special guest here today, but me. I chose this because I thought it was fitting because it's a new topic and it's a film that may shock you. And it was In the Heights, the new musical drama film that came out on HBO Max and theater simultaneously. And it's based on the same stage musical written by his name's Karila Algia Hughes and Lin-Manuel Miranda from Hamilton. And it was also directed by John M. Chu, who also did Crazy Rich Asians. And the plot of the film follows the story of a corner in the predominantly Dominican Washington Heights neighborhood of Upper Manhattan in New York City, where every member of the community pursues their dreams of a better life. It was supposed to come out last year. In the Heights is it's actually a very successful stage play. And Lin-Manuel Miranda, after the success of Hamilton, he said, I want to take one of my creations and put it in the theaters. So he got John M. Chu to do it. And it came out in theaters at HBO Max, and it is underperforming like crazy.
Yeah. Maybe they should have put their luck on Disney Plus. I feel like if they would put it on there, it might have done a little bit better. But I don't think Warner Brothers is too happy about this.
But yeah, so before we get into this, have you guys ever seen a performance of In the Heights, whether it be local play or did you guys go see it a more professional production?
Elliot, you go first.
For this film in particular, or just in general?
Just in general.
Just in general, yeah. Have you seen a production of In the Heights or any other productions like this?
Not too many. I've and this was back when I was like in middle school and stuff. I saw like The Nutcracker once, but that's about it. Like I've never seen like the big ones like Cats or this one In the Heights or what's another one, Wicked and stuff like that, or West Side Story. I've never seen. I haven't really been to a lot of like in-person plays before, or Broadway shows or whatnot.
I mean, I could say the same thing. We've talked about, this in the past, Mac, with, Broadway stuff, whether it be, in the past, if anybody wants to check out our previous episodes. Since I live close to New York, it's kind of hard because Broadway tickets are crazy over the top expensive. I mean, I try to go at least once a year, but with the pandemic, it has been hard. So, but now Broadway is opening back up. I did not see In the Heights when it was released on Broadway. I do remember seeing the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade one year, and I remember In the Heights performing at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade on TVs. I remember seeing that. But other than that, I had no idea or knew anything about In the Heights. So I was going in totally blank, and just knowing that Lin-Manuel was part of this, wrote it, and Anthony Ramos was in it. So
yeah, this was a movie, and it's pretty mediocre.
You think so?
Yeah, it was very...
Yeah, I want to hear it. Let's hear it, man.
So, okay. So I know this. I don't know if I told the story before, but when I did my article for Scribe and I reviewed Retool, the Genetic Opera, which is the best musical / rock opera, I got a comment from somebody. They messaged me on Instagram. They said, "Man, why you didn't like Hamilton, but you like this indie piece of ish?" And I'm like, "Whoa, what? Like, I like musicals. I like Rent. I like High School Musical. Freaking, I give everything a chance. So I'm like, I'm gonna watch In the Heights. I'm gonna see what I think about it." And I watched In the Heights, and it's very underwhelming for what it is, because the advertisements are like this big, huge summer musical event, and it's just like,
You thought so?
well, actually, let me not say that like that. Hamilton was boring. This was not boring. This was at least
Hamilton was boring.
This kept my engagement, but I was like, man, this is kind of like dragging on. Like, I felt it was way like some of the stuff. I was like, you can cut this out, but I was like, I was
definitely.
I was not intrigued by this movie at all, and it was just like, yeah, I don't know. It's a fun movie. Like, that's what I can say, and like, it's fun.
All right. Before you continue, Mac, I want to hear Elliot's thoughts. Elliot, what did you think of In the Heights?
Yeah, so it's been a minute since I've seen it, because luckily, and this is not a humble brag or anything, but I saw the movie a couple months ago. I was fortunate enough to see it. This was like in, I want to say, late March or early April.
Jeez, wow.
Yeah, so I was able to see it pre the hype level, because I think sometimes, like Mac was just mentioning, like how it was praised and everyone was talking about it. Sometimes you can get caught up in the hype, and sometimes it doesn't live up to it. So I was lucky enough to. I mean, obviously it had hype before the movie came out because of the Broadway play, but as far as like the response of the film, I was able to kind of catch it before it kind of hit the mainstream or whatnot, or hit the public. So I went into it, like you mentioned earlier, Kristen, not knowing too much about it. I obviously knew that it was a Broadway play. Was familiar with some of the actors, like you mentioned, Anthony Ramos, Jimmy Smith, stuff like that. But besides that, and obviously John M. Chu, I'm familiar with, Crazy Rich Asians, and he did like a couple of the Step Up movies. So I wasn't like too overly excited about it, because I'm not like the biggest, like I mentioned, I've never really went to any in-person Broadway shows, and I don't hate musicals, but I don't seek them out per se. I love a Sound of Music, a La La Land. What was the one that came out a few years ago? Goodness gracious, on the tip of my tongue. Either way, I don't see a lot of musicals a year. I see like once, maybe a year, if it's like a mainstream musical. So I wasn't necessarily excited for it. But for me, unlike Mac, I think it was a beyond a mediocre film. I thought it was an excellent film, man. I was really engaged with just the coming from, I never grew up in New York, but coming from like a community-based environment, growing up as a kid, just like how it takes a community to kind of raise a kid, as they say, it takes a community to kind of raise, the younger generation, and implant, good morals and characteristics in these young adults in this film, and the idea of like generational knowledge and passing down from one generation to the next, and obviously, seeing the how they represented the Latino community with the flavor, the flair, the personality that the film had. The grandmother figure, who, again, it's been a couple months since I've seen it, but I can't remember her name right now. But I thought that she reminded me a lot of someone I knew, grew up with, in regards to just the warmness and the kindness she offered to the community, and everyone kind of went to her for guidance. And obviously her, no spoilers, but her moments were pretty fantastic to me, especially when she has her solo outing in the train. What's her name? Melissa.
Barbarella.
Yeah, this is my first time being exposed to her, but I am really excited to see what she has to offer. I know she's like the lead in the next Scream film, and she's been cast on a couple other projects of late. So I'm a big fan of her, and I really enjoyed her kind of narrative in regards to just kind of breaking out of the box. And that's something that I really enjoyed about the film, is just not the stereotypical, the one girl that went off to college, and they kind of try to put her in a box, and her dad wanted to put her in a box. It's like, you were the one that made it out, so you have to live up to the expectations, and her wanting her to have her own career and life and stuff like that. So it's a lot of, and of course, Save, Anthony Ramos' character, I thought he's fantastic. I love him, and I'm excited to see his career continue to grow with seeing him in, Stars Born, and Spike Lee, She's Gotta Have It, and he's going to be leading the next Transformers film. I thought that he was a great lead. And last but not least, the music was fire. I love the music.
I did like the music.
The music was so great. Again, the flair, the charisma, the charm, just the meaniness behind the songs and all that stuff. And 96,000. I mean, it's just, I really enjoyed the film. And this is coming from someone, again, that does not seek out a lot of Broadway musicals. So I was very impressed by it.
Let's see. There was a lot of stuff I liked, and then I could see like where there was some stuff that really like kind of fell apart on my end. or didn't really succeed in my expectations. I went into this completely blind. And shout out to the Ultimate Movie account for, giving me a ticket and giving me a lovely prize pack. If you want to go see that stuff, go follow my Instagram. But, yeah, I really liked the cast a lot, especially the 4 main actors, like you said, Anthony Ramos, Melissa Barrera, Leslie Grace, and Corey Hawkins. I really liked how each of them, had their own pair and chemistry, and everyone really stood out in those parts. However, this movie really dragged itself out, I think.
Yeah, it should not be 2 hours and 23 minutes. That's what I was saying. If you cut out a few things, you're looking maybe like an hour and 55-minute movie.
Yeah, I could have said the same thing. I think if it was cut down maybe a little bit story-wise, I know this is being told over the course of a summer, but there's a lot to unpack, because I literally, when I went into to my showing of the film, I went in like as soon as the theater opened, and then I walked out like 3:30, and I was like, okay, my whole day is gone. Not to point that out, but I was like, wow, I had a lot to say, and there's nothing wrong with that. I really enjoyed all the dance sequences. Some of them stood out to me, others didn't. I felt the stronger ones were like 96,000, which was so cool. And that pool scene, it looked like 90 like extras. I was reading about it, like on the set reading, and it was just crazy, that number. And I really liked the other songs. Which one was it? I'm trying to think back of what it was. Like the opening number I really liked, which was the opening title of the themes, the name of the film. I really liked whatchamacallit. It's the one where Corey Hawkins and Leslie Grace, they're singing and they're on like the roof. Not the roof, but they're like on the side of the building.
I think it was that When the Sun Comes Down or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, it was something like that. That one I really liked a lot. I thought that the way that whole dance was like constructed, I thought that was really beautifully choreographed, because that reminded me, like, since I am such a crazy fan of La La Land, I felt like that gave me that sense of vibe and old school, you know. Hollywood feels, the magical sense of, musical theater, and, the mind space where you can really take, musical theater. So I thought that was really, that was such a really pretty number. And the way that the sun, when the sun goes down, like you said, the name of the song, I remember it now, like where the sun is actually go down, it's like almost like a sunset type of thing. It was really, it was such a pretty nice number. I really liked it. And I just kind of liked the fact there was like the unexpected route to it, because there was like, I wasn't expecting at the end for the little girl to be, just a spoiler alert, the little girl to be Anthony Ramos's like daughter. I thought that was really, really cute.
They mentioned that they said it in the middle of the movie.
I didn't even catch that.
She was like, "Dad," she's like, "Yeah, Daddy." I was like, "Okay, that's his daughter."
I didn't even remember that. Okay, I probably missed that. But yeah, I didn't think it was too bad, but yeah, I recommend it in some senses, but it's not my favorite movie of the year. But if anything, I enjoyed this more than Hamilton. If we're gonna call this a Lin-Manuel project itself, I got more out of this than I did with Hamilton.
I've yet to see it. I still have to see Hamilton.
You gotta watch it.
I don't watch it.
Yeah.
Stick with In the Heights is better. Oh, it's better in this case. It's actually entertaining.
Did you guys like Lin-Manuel in his mini role? I thought his role could have been cut. I didn't
even know he was in the movie.
Yeah,
he had the ice shaving.
Oh, that's him.
Yeah, he was shaving the ice guy. He was like the other competition with the ice cream truck guy. Because I did not know that. Lin-Manuel Miranda was, Anthony Ramos's character on Broadway, and so was whatchamacallit. It was the guy.
I think Claudia was in the Broadway as well, the grandmother figure.
Yeah, she played the grandma in the original stage play.
The guy in the ice cream truck, and they both, I think, he played Corey Hawkins' character, and
Benny.
Yeah, so it was like, I thought it was kind of nice, but I felt like that those two characters were unnecessary for it. I just didn't think it was like, they didn't really add anything to the film.
But it's just tell the story. It's to tell the story of Washington Heights.
It doesn't matter. They didn't do anything to the characters.
Come on, it's Washington Heights.
I don't care if it was Washington Heights. I don't care if it's like, I don't know, like, Los Angeles or the middle of Buttsville or somewhere. We didn't need them.
That is one of the complaints I do have about the movie, is that some of the song numbers and kind of some of the characters, some of the characters were not written well, in my opinion. I did not like the love interest. I don't know who played the love interest. Was it Leslie Grace or Melissa Burr? But who played? Melissa. Yeah, her character. I did not like her. She was very. I didn't. I want to say.
I think it was Vanessa.
Yeah, Vanessa. Mm-hmm. I want to say I didn't like her. I just wasn't impressed by her storyline, because I get that she wanted to be like this big fashion designer and like move downtown away from Washington, Washington. But it's like, I feel like she was very kind of annoying, because she was like, it's obvious that her and the main character, Usnavi, they liked each other, but she was just like, ugh. It's just like, it was just like, it was kind of a cliche with that love story. I was like, oh, okay. And some of the characters felt very underdeveloped, like his cousin that worked in the shop with them. Like, we really didn't know anything.
That was, I remember when I reviewed it, that was, Sonny, I think was the character's name.
Yeah. His
subplot was like trying to like keep the community together and to vote for like to keep the local shops open, and they kind of that story was kind of forgotten about. So I definitely agree with you all that there's a lot of stories going on, some of them of which shine more than others, and even like the beauty salon, like gentrification, and they had to go move because obviously they were taking up all the salons out there. So there were some stories that I think probably maybe were fleshed out more in the 3.5-hour Broadway movie or show versus the 2.5-hour film. So I definitely agree with you guys there that some of the stories kind of were shortchanged.
Yeah, definitely. Sonny was one character that was really undeveloped. I could agree to that. I also felt the other character, the hairdresser too, was kind of a little underdeveloped, but not too much.
Which hairdresser, Vanessa or the other ones?
The other ones.
The owner of the hair salon.
The owner, what's her name? I think her name was Daniela.
Daniela, yeah.
Yeah, from what I remember. I'm trying to look back in my notes. She was fine, but I felt like hers was like her kind of dreams were stereotypical, along with Vanessa's. But it wasn't. I didn't put too much harsh when I was creating the film or my feel for it, but I felt I can't put my words on it. Oh shoot. Sorry. Do you guys think John was the perfect director to take on the film, or no? Should have gotten somebody else?
I mean, I know his background again. I know early on in his career, which these aren't the greatest films, but I think he directed a couple of the Step Up movies. If I'm not mistaken, like Step Up in the Streets or something like that, and like Step Up 3. Yeah, and then he did like a bunch of like concert movies, like the Justin Bieber films and Jim and the Hologram. I mean, he has a very like intriguing. I think he did G.I. Joe, the sequel. Of course,
he did. He's had the most interesting,
very
career.
Diverse, very versified, very variety of stuff. So I think that's what this film kind of calls for, because again, it's a very diverse cast and a very diverse type of story. So I think they have, and plus too, like you mentioned earlier, Kristen, the dancing sequence. So again, knowing that he has a background in dance movies and choreographed films, I think it kind of fits there. And I think he's the director of Wicked, which that film has been delayed like 20 times. But I think from a choreography standpoint, I think he's a great director to kind of bring what we saw in the film, the dance sequences, and just story too. Again, this is the second film in a row that he's done. Crazy Rich Asians brought a lot of people to see themselves on the screen, and obviously the Latin community being able to see themselves on the screen in this film. So I think that I think he did a good job. And again, bringing, because I know a lot of people that do live in Washington Heights and felt that it was like a great portrayal of how they grew up and where their neighborhood is and how people kind of stick together and band together to keep stuff alive and keep community going. So I think he did a good job in directing share. So I mean, of course, there's probably someone out there that might have been better, but I think he was the right man for the job.
Yeah, not exactly what I couldn't say any better. I agree with Elliot.
Yeah, you said it really, really well. And
Yeah.
people go to also check out his review because his review is also great. So shout out to Elliot for your.
I do want to ask you guys, what do you think about people making the well, not controversy, the whole criticism that there was a lack of Afro-Latina Americans in this movie because they pointed it out that in some of the scenes with all the extras, there are times where there's digitally copied of the same people in the background. What do you guys think about that?
I think that's really funny.
Jesus Christ.
People are smart. I love it. Like, they know their continuity issues and they're like, wait, what?
So that is something that and I know a couple people, again, know some people that grew up in that area, and how they felt about it. And they have every reason to feel that way as far as lack of seeing themselves. And again, this whole supposed to be about community and what it's like. Cause I've been in New York once, and that's, like you said, Kristen, you could attest to this. I mean, literally it's a melting pot, right? It's just so many different diversity, a variety of people, especially in the Washington Heights area, as far as the Afro-Latino Americans there. So it's unfortunate, a film that does kind of shine a light on a community that doesn't get a lot of, this type of budget behind it.
Yes.
So hopefully, whatever the next story that kind of relates to this type of community, it shows everyone. It shows a little bit of everyone. So, it's Hollywood learning its lessons. So hopefully they take that and do better next time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think as long as they respect the criticism for it and you just say, okay, we'll do better, then that's fine. Because that's all the best you can do is just learn from your mistakes. And I think, Lin-Manuel is learning that, because I know there was some stuff going on with Rita Moreno or something like she said, and then she had to go and apologize. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, poor Rita Moreno. I just felt bad. She's got her movie she's worrying about, and then she's got to worry about apologizing for, saying some stuff for, in the Heights. So it's like, I see where people are saying, you got to put your words carefully in this sense. Yeah. So, just do better, I guess, next time.
So before we give our ratings for this film, I wanted to ask just one question because there's a question that's very even when I reviewed it, I was trying to make an answer that I couldn't even answer in my review. Why do you guys think that this is underperforming at on the box office? And I think on opening weekend at HBO Max, it had only 690,000 viewers. So why do you think this film of this magnitude with the star power and the name recognition with the producer and the director, why do you think this is underperforming? Because right now it's sitting at $30 million at the box office worldwide out of its $55 million budget.
Elliot, why don't you go first? Because then I'll mention my theory.
Honestly, man, that's a good question. Again, I know a lot of films that got pushed back. Sometimes the momentum kind of loses traction. But honestly, I was very surprised by HBO and Warner Brothers. They promoted the hell out of this movie. They were letting press see it months in advance to kind of get the good word out there. And I thought that was going to really bring a lot of people to the theaters. And it's not a matter of obviously we just talked about Fast 9. It's not that people are afraid to go to theaters. So it is really interesting. And as Max was pointing out, it didn't do it didn't blow the doors off the water. Streaming wise, Hamilton was the most viewed streaming movie on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. I don't know exactly. Is it a matter? And this, I know Steven Spielberg might be a little nervous with his West Side Story this year from not only this underperforming, but also he has the lead of the film had a bunch of controversy. I don't know, what was that, 2 years ago, with this whole sexual misconduct situation that what's the kid's
Ansel
name?
Elgort.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's gonna hurt that film at all. But I think to be honest, musicals normally don't blow. I know, like Kristen, I'm a big fan of La La Land as well, but I don't think that destroyed the box office. Obviously, it swept up the awards, and don't be surprised if In the Heights gets a lot of award recognition come next year. But honestly, it doesn't really surprise me because musicals, like I said, don't normally kill it at the box office. But I was expecting it to be a Crazy Rich Asians type of hype around the film in regards to people going to see it over and over and just bringing communities to go see it, younger kids, younger generations go see it. But again, with that controversy we kind of spoke about, I know that kind of hurt the box office a bit. And also, again, with movies opening up, you have the Quiet Places of the world, the Conjurings of the world, obviously Black Widow coming out. So there is a slew of other more bigger blockbuster IPs that might have overshadowed it just a little bit. And I can't remember on June 4th, I felt like there was either a big, like a season finale of something, one of the Marvel shows, or another big movie that came out that might have disrupted it a little bit. But
I think it was God. Oh wow.
Was it that?
I'm trying to remember. That was like the beginning of the month.
Kate Bosworth show? Was it that maybe?
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
Mayor's of Easttown or something. I have to watch that series yet. So.
I love that show.
Was it good? Maybe it was that. But yeah. I completely agree. For anybody who wants to know, we also got to talk about this a little bit more on the Guy at the Movies podcast, Mac and I, and the reasons behind it. But to go back to your comment too.
Sorry, Kristen. The movie, I think maybe Conjuring has something to do with it because it came out the June 4th.
June 4th. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
But like going back to what Elliot you were talking about with the La La Land, it made about $448.9 million, but that's over the course of months.
Right. And theaters being open, no pandemic and all that stuff.
No pandemic, and it was a time. It was like 2016 when we didn't have to worry about it. It was Oscar season, so people were going out to see that. Now we're not even in Oscar season yet. We are just still at not even officially in award season yet.
Right.
I don't think a lot of people are interested in musicals as much. Personally speaking, because, honestly speaking, if I did not win the tickets to go see the film, I probably would have sat home and watched this movie. Because I am not a huge musical person myself. I do love musicals, but not to the full extent. Like, I'm going to go see, like, a musical, like, every musical that's out there. Like, I was, if anything, like, I was interested in it in the Heights, but I probably wasn't going to see it, to be honest. It didn't really capture my attention, like, what the trailers were or anything beyond that. But I'm happy I saw it. Because I also don't come from a big musical family. Like none of my mom ended up seeing it. She really loved it. But it's hard to find a musical audience when it's not so much made for theater kids, I think, because there is a target for theater kids, and stuff like that. But other than that, like, I don't even think there's a lot of people on my own would want to see this.
Something you mentioned too, Chris, and going back to La La Land with that $400 million box office was, star power. Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone are big names. I think of The Greatest Showman, Hugh Jackman, Rebecca Ferguson, Zendaya, Zac Efron. So, and no disrespect to this cast, but like I just mentioned, Anthony Ramos, he's an up and coming star. Melissa, up and coming star. They're all or new faces. So I think that might have played a little bit into it. They didn't really have like that box office draw as far. And to be fair, there's no like true superstars in Hollywood like there used to be back in the those times. But still, Ryan Gosling brings people to the seats. Hugh Jackman again, so that might have been something that played into it as well. It's just it didn't have that big name actor that might have.
And that's why they have the creator of Hamilton like on there to get people in the seats. And having Lin-Manuel. I'm sure like. Maybe if this wasn't so much of like an HBO Max deal, I think this would have actually done maybe a little bit better if it was on Disney.
Yeah, I don't think so.
You don't think so? Because
I think I don't know because it's still people will be like, oh, I'll just go back to Hamilton and I only watch that for the 50,000th time.
But then again, like people love Lin-Manuel Miranda. I mean, look how successful he's become. I'm sure. I feel like. To target its family audience, which I feel like it wanted to do also, it would have done better on Disney.
Nah, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Nah. I think it was the right location. I think maybe just terrible timing. Because it came out June 4th. Or no, it came out in June. I felt like if
it came out June 11th, which was also, I'm trying to think what was
they should have waited. They should have. Well, I would say July, but I forgot Black Widow would probably kick its ass. But maybe you know what? Why not make this a Christmas movie? Like,
well, no, because then it would have been released at the same time as West Side Story, so you don't get musicals.
And plus, it's kind of like a summer film too. It takes place in the summer, the hottest day of the summer, and all that stuff. Yeah.
I don't know. Then freaking this movie. I don't know. Then put it on Disney Plus. Maybe it will. People would. Wrapping it all up. What is your ratings? We're gonna go on a letter grade. What's your ratings for this movie, guys? Elliot, you go first.
Yeah, no, when I if I remember correctly, when I first reviewed it, I gave it a 4.5 out of 5, man. Again, it really, besides those little things that we talked about, maybe some of the stories not really sticking the landing or getting enough justice to the characters, I really love, I'm a sucker for, going back to La La Land, I'm a sucker for love stories, man. And, Gustave and Vanessa's story, I love their kind of how they came together at the end. And even Corey Hawkins and the young girl that went, the girl that went to school, and I thought that they had a really good young love story. And again, those songs really kind of resonate with me. The idea of community and generational knowledge being passed down from one to the next. So and I think I've seen it 2 times now, and I 4.5 out of 5 when I saw it, and I still think I'm gonna watch it again before I do like my final rankings of top movies of the year. But I'm still gonna sit at a 4.5. I remember really enjoying it that second time around, showing it to one of my friends and having a good time with it. So I'm pretty high on this film.
Okay. What about you, Kristen?
I gave it. Are we doing numbers or are we doing letters? What do you want to say?
You can do it. Whichever.
Whatever. Okay, so I gave it a B. And then number-wise, I give it a 7.5.
Well, you guys are going to be shocked by my rating unless you read it.
Let's see it.
But I gave it a 7 out of 10.
That sounds about right around my, grading-wise.
Yeah, because
it's not bad.
It's not like I can see this movie in my top 10 of the year because maybe like a 10 or 9, but it felt like it should have been bigger because Elliot said, you said they were pushing this hard. Like every advertisement you saw, it's like, oh, watch In the Heights in theaters. Like in this day, they were pushing this movie hard. So I felt like it was very underwhelming because they pushed this movie so hard. And who knows? I don't know who said it, but this will probably become one of those word of mouth movies.
Guy at the movies and a math movie teacher also talked about that and saying maybe once. I'm also thinking too, award season, once it comes out, people are gonna shoot this up to the sky and be like, yeah, go see it, like how they did, with The Greatest Showman, like what was just talked about.
This will probably get best soundtrack nomination. The songs definitely, because the songs.
Oh, I guarantee that, and then production design maybe.
Yeah.
Costume.
Mm-hmm.
But
all the technical words.
Yeah, but In the Heights, it's. If you're a diehard fan of musicals or, you're like Hamilton, give it a watch. It's not terrible. It's okay. You might get emotional. I cried at Abuela's song. I'm not going to lie. I cried when I was at work. But, yeah, you should check it out. Give it a watch. It's on HBO Max till July 11th, and it's going to be in theaters probably for another month. But with all that said and done, let's start to wrapping up with some questions. All right, so before we wrap up today's show, we're going to answer some questions and then talk about what we've been watching so far or lately on TV or movies or, that sort of nature. So, Christian, you got some questions for us?
Yes, thank you to our fans on Instagram. And we got 2 questions submitted this week. Our first one comes from the Wasteland reviewer, our friend Shane. Thanks for submitting, Shane. The question is, what original film are you most excited for the rest of 2021? And I consider this to be no sequels, no reboots, no franchises, just plain story, new to Hollywood, new to us, whether it be independent or just something that a director has been working on their own original story. What film are you guys most excited for?
Elliot, you can go first. I gotta start. I'm searching for what is even coming out. This is original.
Let's see. I'm just trying to think. I don't know why this is coming like first. This isn't like my most anticipated, but it comes to mind because I'm excited for it to see what he does next. Is M Night Shyamalan's Old. I know that's an original IP, and in the last 5 years with The Visit. I know a lot of people don't like Glass. I was okay with it, but Split. I love Split. And then also there's a show that he has on Apple TV Plus that I highly recommend if you guys are into thrillers,
I remember
psychological
you
horror.
posting that too.
Yeah, Servant. Servant's a really good show on Apple TV Plus that he's directed some episodes, and he's the executive producer behind it. So I'm excited to see what Old has to offer. I'm a sucker for A24, so
I know what you're gonna
I don't want to
say.
say this is original because it's like based on a mythology with the Green Knight. I'm excited for that, even though again there's been tons of iterations of that Arthur story, but I still is super excited for it. What else do we have coming out this year? It's not a sequel.
One of them I think was going to be really good is Respect, which is the
Aretha Franklin film.
Aretha Franklin film. Fun fact,
yeah.
I don't know if I can talk about this now because it's been a while since I've been there, but they filmed the movie where I went to school for graduate school.
Very cool.
So, yeah, I don't know if I get in trouble. I am sorry.
We'll censor it out.
They're coming in to get you, Kristen, and knocking on your doors.
Yeah, but I'm very excited for that film. I know one film Mac might be very excited for because there's a new trailer that came out for it, and I think it's called Candyman. I think
yes.
Is that original though? It's like a reboot.
Yeah.
We're breaking the rules. Screw it. I hope so hard.
I would say if that's the case, that's definitely high on my list. I can't wait to see that film.
Oh, same, dude. I love the original Candyman.
Oh, yeah.
I can't. I like how they're doing like the Halloween method, where it's like it's a sequel of the original one, and it's telling the same story. Because isn't Yaya playing the kid from the first movie?
I don't know if they've confirmed that, but that would be hopefully. I mean, that's something they keep for the movies, the theater. If if that is the case, but I can see that being the case. That's the kid that was in the bathroom and after the first one. But yeah, we'll see.
Another one I'm really excited for is The Eyes of Tammy Faye, which is the Eyes of Tammy Faye, which is the Jessica Chastain and Andrew Garfield movie.
That's
with
the
them
Lin-Manuel.
being like old yep.
Yeah, there's like the televangelists. I think that's what they call them. Really
That's Lin-Manuel's movie on Netflix. He's gonna do. He's directing it, isn't he?
The Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Yeah, I think so. No, because I saw.
Is that him?
No.
I thought it was him. I saw it was like he's directing it because it was something with Andrew Garfield he's doing.
Oh,
you're thinking of that Tick Tick Boom. Yeah.
Oh, whoops, wrong one. Never mind. Forget what I said.
No, The Eyes of Tammy Faye is like a televangelist, I think, who's trying to I think that's what they're called, right? Televangelists.
Mm-hmm.
And they're selling Jesus, Yep. So I think that looks really awesome. That's like original story. I don't believe it's based on the book.
The Hugh Jackman film that we got a trailer for last month, Reminiscence or something like that.
Yeah, that looks good too.
That was pretty good.
However, I'm getting the vibes of that Johnny Depp movie that also came out years ago.
Something
Transcendence.
Yeah, that's what I also fear. What if it's like that? So, but I'm going in high hopes. But then I'm also excited for Last Night in Soho. I think that's like the biggest original one I'm really, really, really excited about.
I think what's James Wan. I'm a big James Wan fan. I think it's called Malignant, I think is the name of it. It's an original horror film by James Wan, which signed me the hell up. I love what he does with horror, so that comes to mind. I think it's September or October, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that's September. Okay, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, you said Last Night in Soho, and everything else is like sequels. I mean, Eternals. Perfect. I'm looking forward to Eternals. That's not a sequel or reboot. It's an original.
Anyone excited?
Comic book.
Anyone excited for Space Jam: A New Legacy?
No.
That was a quick no.
Nobody cares for Space Jam, honestly.
I care about. You need to shut your mouth. A lot of people care about Space Jam. It's just with LeBron James, no one wants that.
I mean, here's the thing. I like the original Space Jam is not bad.
Mm-hmm.
However, we don't need it nowadays because now it's baking off of our generation and our nostalgia. That's what it's doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't care for it.
Oh, there's a couple more. I got House of Gucci, Adam Driver, girl Lady Gaga, and Ridley Scott.
Oh, that looks good.
Really look for
Oh,
that.
Annette. Going back to Adam Driver, Annette.
What?
That looks really good.
Annette, which is going to go to Amazon Prime. That looks really, really cool.
Can't forget about another horror film, Nightmare Alley, with Guillermo del Toro's next film with Bradley Cooper, Kate Blanchett, Rob Perlman, Toni Collette. I mean, it's I can't wait. I can't wait for that one.
There's so much good coming out. I can't wait to be at the theaters practically every weekend or just like every night when I get out of work. I'm just going to be like, all right, going to the movies.
Don't forget about the Forever Purge.
Oh, right, man.
Gosh.
It's a Forever Purge, man.
Gosh.
Mac, you're going to be probably like the only one in there for the Purge, I feel like.
Nah, it's more big than you think. What's the next question?
All right, our next question is, my phone shut off. It's from Film Explorer L. So thank you, Brad, for submitting that. And that is, theaters are coming back in a big way. What are your thoughts on this? We kind of talked about this already, but I guess, what do you think about this whole going back to the theaters? What do you feel about that?
Well, I know for me personally, I went back for the first time in over a year and some change to see Spiral, which was, not the best film to be welcome back to the theaters. No, from my experience, I've been to an AMC, and then we have some Ronnie's out here, which is like a kind of a small independent, well, not small independent, but like a family-owned theater chain out here. And everything so far has been pretty, as advertised. They're doing the safe precaution things, cleaning the theaters out, making sure everyone's, masked up. Well, now you don't have to wear a mask if you're vaccinated, but, during that time when I went back a couple months ago, everyone had to wear their mask and everyone was, abiding by the rules. So, I mean, so far, for my 3-4 times I've been to the theater so far this year, I felt safe. I haven't felt uncomfortable. And I'm excited to, obviously more people to get vaccinated and people, still abiding by the rules and all that stuff. And, hopefully we can get back in the swing of things and going back to, like you said, Chris, going back to the theater, every weekend like we were doing, in 2019 and before that.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to the movies once theaters opened back up. I want to say when August, like when, Tenet hit. Mm-hmm. But then after that, I was like very picky about what I was choosing to go to the theater with. So like I was wearing my mask. I stayed away from people. And literally like just about every movie I went to, there was like nobody there. Mm-hmm. And then when I did go to the theater, I want to say my first time back in a theater where like, I was really away and distant from people and I got to take off my mask to eat my popcorn. It was probably back in March when I went to go see Nobody. And that was a really cool, I loved that movie, going back to the theater and making that like my first, welcome back, movie to like a normal setting type of film. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, I saw like everything else I, got to, they did where I go to the AMC I go to, they do also a very thorough cleaning, very safe. I feel like I don't feel like my life is currently in danger because I got my vaccine. I encourage everybody to go get their vaccine, it's because it's going to help and, why not get it? It's going to help. Yeah, I feel normal going back to the movies. It's a good thing now. So, happy to see it return to normal.
I would say that it has been like really good. Before recently, my last movie I saw was like Tenet in October, and but I've been seeing, I saw Godzilla vs. Kong, Nobody, Spiral. I went to go see Wrath Man the other day, and Furious 9 is coming up, but I keep the mask on just in case because there are a lot of people, they come in with their no mask on and people are coughing and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not doing that. But
luckily enough, you just sit away from all those people that be like me, just sit away from everybody.
Hopefully it can stay like this because there is a new variant going around that they say that could make a resurgence in it. So hopefully it won't get as bad to have theaters closed again because I don't know if I can handle almost a year not going to the theaters. Before that, the last movie I saw was like The Invisible Man back in February, and I went from February all the way to October without going to the movies. I nearly lost my damn mind.
It got so bad for me where I was almost in the camp, and I can't believe I was in this camp for a while, where I was like like kind of like sad. I was like, I haven't been to theaters so long. I'm okay with not going to theaters. We can watch these movies at home. I was like kind of like in my own head in that moment. But no, like again, seeing and again, not talking about Spiral, but like A Quiet Place, for example. That was my second movie going experience in over a year. That was like that really opened my eyes to be like, no, we need now. To be fair, in the last year in the pandemic, there are certain movies, and this has always been the case. There's certain movies that don't need to be in the theaters. You know, there's certain comedies, certain dramas, there's certain, films that don't need that theatrical experience, in my opinion. But A Quiet Place was like Quiet Place 2 was a perfect example of why the movie going experience is a treasured, covenant type of experience.
Exactly.
Communal environment, the shock value, the energy in the room is nothing that could replicate that. Even if you have the best home theater system possible, it's certain movies just deserve that theatrical.
Yeah, and especially
experience.
to see that like even in an IMAX or Dolby or anything like that,
Yeah.
It's part of the theater going and the filmmaking experience is to go and experience something new. And like I saw A Quiet Place in theaters, and that was just a really great movie to return to theaters with. I don't know, like I could agree about the most recent Fast and Furious film. I don't think that's the best movie to see it, but I feel like it's bringing back people in the theater, which is great. I think I would love people to go see more of, A Quiet Place. Or who knows, once, I saw you, talk about it, not you talk about it just yet. I know you watched Zola recently. I feel like, a lot of the bigger, people who are like really into independent films, they're going to want to go see that. Like Zola in a theater. I feel like that might be a really cool theater experience. You know?
It really, that is a movie that needs that communal experience because
I'm excited to see. I'm gonna go.
It's
I think I am gonna go this coming week to go see it in theaters because it's on like my most anticipated movies for this month. So let's continue the conversation.
That's all the question. Yeah. Let's start with, I guess, Elliot. What have you been watching lately?
Yeah, man. Well, just to go off the last point, Zola was a film I recently saw last week. The new A24 film with starring Taylor Page and Riley Keough and Nicholas Braun. Yeah, from Succession, who I love. That Greg from that show, and of course Coleman D'Amico. Yeah, this is I was someone that vaguely remembered the 2015. For those that don't know, this film is based on a 148 Twitter thread of a young lady.
Did not know that.
Yeah, she came across.
Yeah,
this the woman, the main character Zola, who's a stripper, came across this young lady while she was working at her day job, like at a restaurant, and she invited her on a 48-hour just kind of trip to dance to get money, but it did not turn out that way. There was some more stuff involved in this kind of crazy weekend. The way I compare it to a little bit of the way it's kind of shot and is handled, and the storytelling is a little bit like the Florida Project meets Spring Breakers, in my opinion.
That's exactly the vibes I got from the trailer.
Yeah, and it definitely delivers in those veins. And it is a black comedy. To me, comedy is very subjective, but it is some of the funniest beats I've seen in a very long time. And it's an interesting story too. It's an hour and 25 minutes. Again, it's based on a Twitter thread, which goes to show you can make a movie about anything these days. But when you have good, capable director, a good writer, and obviously great performances by the two leads and the supporting cast, it's a really good film, and I can't wait for people to check it out and discuss it more.
Yeah, and speaking of which, this was supposed to come out last year because it premiered at the Sundance. It's at Sundance back in 2020, and here we are. It's finally getting its release. I'm excited for it. I'm definitely going to see that this coming weekend. Yeah. So, what else has been on your plate?
So that I saw last week, and then another film that I can't really talk about too much because there's an embargo, but there's a new animated Netflix film by the name of America, the motion picture.
Right. Right?
Yeah, Channing Tatum, the guys, Lord and Miller are the executive producers behind it. I mean, the cast is crazy, but it's a parody of the founding fathers, and obviously with 4th of July coming up in a couple weeks, it's a parody on how America came to be with George Washington and Abraham Lincoln and Thomas Edison and Paul Revere. It is again, I can't talk too much about it, but it's something I would recommend checking out when it comes out on Netflix on June 30th. If you guys are fans of like kind of Team America type of comedy,
The Interview, because that's the other vibe I got from it.
If you guys like those type of parody films of kind of remixing historical facts and historical figures with a great voice cast and also some really cool animation, is something I would recommend. I think it's Wednesday's the 30th, if I'm not mistaken, June 30th.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely had a fun time with that. So those are like the most recent ones. I also saw last week False Positive, another A24.
I saw that too.
Horror film, which unfortunately wasn't my cup of tea. I was really excited for it. I love Alana Glazer. I'm a big Broad City fan. Justin Theron, I will always love him just for the simple fact that he was in one of my favorite shows and Leftovers. And Pierce Brosnan, I mean, he's a fantastic actor. And A24 horror, but it just was slow. It was served really, the narrative was just kind of disjointed. The characters really didn't have much chemistry to me, and Justin Theron's character was just very stereotypical horror husband tropes, and a lot of tropes that was in this film. It tried to be like a Rosemary's Baby situation, but it just didn't stick landing there. So that was something that was unfortunately didn't really work for me. And then outside of that, TV show wise, obviously watching Loki episode 3 last week. I'm a big fan of there's a show on HBO Max called Generation, which is kind of like a Euphoria type of show where it's a bunch of teenagers dealing with, growing up and their sexuality and stuff like that. And I'm a big fan of Euphoria. So kind of, since we haven't had Euphoria in 2 years, it's kind of scratching that itch for me. And I think that's about it. And as far as, this week, really excited to be seeing a particular Marvel film that I can't really talk about tomorrow that I'm excited to talk about later this week. So, yeah.
That's exciting. And I'm sure based on the conversation, we know exactly what it is. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
On my end, I also saw False Positive. I was kind of bummed about that. I was really looking forward to it, knowing that this was a fresh new A24 film and coming to Hulu. I was like, oh, this is probably going to be really, really good, especially given the cast. But no, it really did miss the mark. I thought it was just okay. I wasn't crazy. I was pretty much on the same beat for beat how you thought your review kind of was.
Yeah.
So, I was expecting more. And it just pretty much a forgettable film and one I probably won't return to ever again.
Same.
What else did I watch? I've been watching Loki. I need to catch up on the Apple TV series. I'm behind on, I think, like 2 episodes of Leslie's story.
You talk about slow. It has been. I enjoy the visuals. I'm a big Stephen King fan. Julianne Moore and Clive Owen and Dane DeHaan. But yeah, it's been moving at a very slow pace.
Yeah, I'm behind on like 2 episodes. I need to catch up again. It's a very slow moving show. I wanted to recommend it to my parents, but I can't even recommend it to them because they would just fall asleep to it. Knowing, I feel like it. For me, I can't even have a drink with it because I know I'll just fall asleep. Because I'm I can't. You need to watch this during the day when you can focus.
Right.
Because I had to watch the first episode twice just to make sure I got everything clear. So I've been watching that. I need to I just started the first literally 15 minutes of Jupiter Legacy, that show that was just canceled on
Netflix. Yep.
I was like, I gotta see this. If it's canceled, I gotta watch this and be on the hype train to bring it back. And
you said you saw the first 15 minutes or so?
Yeah, I watched the first 15 minutes. I watched it during this one day this week when I didn't have, I actually had some downtime, and I was like, okay, let me actually watch this. And then I was getting into it, and then stuff got in the way, but I actually do want to finish the rest of the series. So I didn't think, so far what I saw the first 15 minutes of, I didn't think it was too bad, even though I feel like it's pretty much like The Boys. That's what I think, Netflix is trying to get on that train of, that's superhero content. But I watched that. What else movie-wise did I watch? I feel like I watched something else, but I can't seem to remember.
Quick question for you guys both, and I assume, Mac, you've been watching Loki as well. Have you guys been enjoying that show so far?
Oh,
I did not watch Loki.
Oh, you haven't watched Loki yet?
Yeah,
I think it's
I'm
better
not
than
interested.
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I've said this multiple times on other
Yeah.
podcasts, on this podcast. The only Marvel show that I'm really looking forward to is the What If series, because I
Oh,
love the
interesting.
animation and the whole stories about like the what if, and they might be introducing one of my favorite storylines with the Marvel Zombies. That's like the only thing that's interesting with me. And like the whole Loki thing is just like we're bringing him out for money. Just leave it alone, please. Just leave it, please. Stop it.
Leave him dead.
Yeah, but they brought back away. They're like, no, he's not dead.
He's not dead yet. Let's make money off of this.
Well, it's funny you brought up What If because, and Kristen could probably attest to this with episode 2. It might explain why the What If's here. I didn't, and then of course I could be wrong, but I think if based off episode 2 events, that could set the stage for why What If is an actual series because there's something that happens that kind of creates chaos in the MCU.
It does create chaos.
Yeah.
But it's in a fun way, and I could see where you're bringing that in. That's a good point. I didn't even think of that. But I just realized I watched Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard.
Oh God,
that wasn't good.
Good. I mean, yeah, good. That movie looks.
I thought Salma Hayek killed it though in that movie.
I heard she was great in it. Yeah.
She was really, 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 really funny. She's pretty much Samuel L. Jackson, but in female form, just cursing, saying F-bombs, and just talking about her boobs and saying stuff about Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds.
It's really, there was some stuff I was just actually chuckling about, but nothing really stood out except for one moment though that was like, but it's honestly in the trailer and it's pretty much, I think the scene is online. I could tell you what it is, but it's pretty much where Ryan Reynolds and Salma Hayek, they go into this rescue area to save, Samuel L. Jackson, and the two of them start arguing about why she got Ryan Reynolds to rescue him, and it's just a really funny argument. Otherwise, the rest of the film isn't really that,
I assume you've seen the first one. I assume, right?
Yeah, I did.
Which one's better?
I guess the first one. I didn't think we needed a sequel.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember so much of the first one too much, but I guess the first one, because like the rest of this movie isn't that great. I mean, Antonio Banderas probably plays the worst villain I've seen this year.
I didn't even know he was in it, which is that's hilarious now because
the villain in it, and he's just like the stereotypical. I'm gonna take over the world.
Sucks.
I want to destroy Europe.
Yeah, because back in the 90s, if you guys ever saw Desperado, yeah, that would have been. Did they have like a callback to that since Salma Hayek and Antonio Banderas were both in that film?
They
have like a moment.
They do have like a love connection, though. I will admit to that.
Interesting. Okay.
Once lovers, and they know.
Oh, okay. A little Easter egg there.
But now, didn't work out, and now she's gaga over Samuel L. Jackson, and they want to have a baby, so that's the main focus here. So.
Yeah.
And then the strange turn of events, like logically, the whole film didn't make sense in the end. I was just like, what? Like there was times I was scratching my head. Like I was like, okay, I'll just roll with this.
Is there a potential for a third based on this one?
If they can milk this out, you know there's going to be a third one. But what else did I see? I also saw this movie called The Birthday Cake, which is a Shiloh Fernandez film, and it's got like a whole bunch of stars in it. It's got like Penn Badgley and Ewan McGregor and whatchamacallit. Oh, did I say Ashley Benson? I think I did. I'm trying to think. Oh God, the guy. Excuse my French, but it's directed by Jimmy Giannopoulos. I brewed that Italian name or Greek name. I feel like, but it's
Val Kilmer. Was that the person you?
Val Kilmer is in this, and it's something else.
Huh.
I don't recommend it. It comes from It comes from the studio or distribution company that released Willy's Wonderland.
Yes.
So that's available. But if you guys want to check out my review, go to Sip Pop. So my review's on there. But Mac, what have you been watching?
So I completely tuned out after you said Hitman's Wife Bodyguard, so I did not catch that last part. But I will say, imagine if this since the Hitman Wife's Bodyguard, I don't think it's doing that well in theaters. Imagine what Free Guy is going to look like in theaters in the month, because I don't think that's going to do well either.
I do want to watch Free Guy. I do. I'm not gonna lie. I want to watch Free Guy. That one looks more fun than Hitman's Wife.
But what I've been watching lately, in the Heights, I watched Guy Ritchie's new movie, Wrath of Man. I liked that. It was pretty entertaining. I've been watching all the Purge movies because I've been doing a retrospective series on my page and in lead up for the new Purge movie because these movies will never end, and apparently they're talking about making another movie. What else have
What's
I
your
seen?
favorite? Based on the revisit, what's your favorite of the franchise?
It's a tie between Anarchy and the first Purge.
Anarchy.
What's the second one?
Okay, yeah, I agree. That's my favorite one. That's Fringarillo is introducing that one, right? He's like the Punisher pretty much. Yeah, that's my favorite one in the franchise, yeah.
It's a tie because I like the fourth one. I like the fourth one a lot because it's just very entertaining. And I thought that
Keith Stanfield?
The second one?
Which one is the one with Lakeith Stanfield?
The second one. He plays young.
Yeah, he plays like a young. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What's the fourth? The fourth one's the recent one, right? Where they had to like the urban areas or
the first
Staten
Purge.
Island or something like that.
Yeah, it was like to show how the Purge started off as an experiment, and I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was very cool to see how like the Purge got its start. The TV series is not that bad either. It's on Hulu, both seasons.
Gotcha.
I watched the first episode and I couldn't get on to the rest of this series.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched both seasons twice, and I think it's pretty.
There's 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I thought there was only one. Then it got canceled, I remember hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately. Then what else have I seen? I was on HBO Max and I'm rewatching all the Rush Hour films. Watched Training Day, and to try to get excited, I tried to watch the 2016 Suicide Squad movie again and lead up for the new one coming out. Every time I watch that movie, my like appreciation for it goes down slightly. I don't know why, man. I just
bad movie. That's why.
Yeah, like because it's like when it came out in 2016. In 2016, I'm like, okay, you know what, guys? It's not that bad. They cut out a lot of stuff. Maybe we need to air cut. And then, like, for the next, like, 5 years, I'm like, okay, yeah, this movie sucks. Like, there's no saving it. It's so broken.
It's broken. It's like a toy.
Broken film.
Yeah.
That is a good way to describe it.
And I'm like, I'm excited for the new movie, but I realize I hope I'm not in the same mindset I was 5 years ago, excited by trailers and going to the movie. It was disappointing.
It's so funny you bring that up because I literally have not really enjoyed the new trailers, to be honest with you.
Really?
Which is the complete opposite of the 2016 because I thought the trailers were great, but obviously the movie wasn't. So I'm hoping this is the opposite, where I'm not the biggest fans of the trailer and the movie's which I think the movie will be good because James, like you just mentioned, James Gunn's great. And the additions of Idris Elba and some of the other cast members really, King Shark, voiced by Sylvester Stallone, is going to be cool.
We got John Cena coming.
Mm-hmm. Well, based off F9, I don't know John Cena.
Oh, we got the Pacemaker series that's going to lead to it. So who knows?
They really banking on him, man. And James Gunn, he's the wrestler whisperer with Drax and Dave Bautista. So maybe he can bring out something of John Cena that he didn't know he had. We'll see. Or maybe we won't see because we can't see John Cena.
Yeah, we can't see man from West New York. I will say before we end the podcast, out of the 3 wrestlers, who do you guys think is the better actor? Batista, The Rock, or John Cena?
Oh, we've had this discussion, I think, but before. What do you think, Elliot?
It's a great question because honestly, I was a fan of wrestling growing up. It's been many, many years since I watched it, but obviously, wrestling, believe if it's real or fake, they're performers. They're actors in their own right. They have to bring on this persona and bring on this character, whether they're heels or good guys. So they come from an acting background per se. But as far as just like what we've seen of their career, obviously The Rock is kind of he's smart because he knows what he's good at and he continues to do it over and over and over again, which is great because he's great at what he does. But I think out of the 3, Dave Bautista has really kind of flexed his muscles so far, all pun intended, because they're all huge wrestling bodybuilders. But I think Dave Bautista, he's chosen his career and who he works with pretty carefully. We mentioned James Gunn, Denis Villeneuve. He's worked with Sam Mendes. He's working with Denis Villeneuve again later this year, and he's been very smart in how he wants to present himself. Even with Army of the Dead with Zack Snyder, he said, I don't want to just be the big guy that can fight, even though that was an action movie. But it had a little bit, his character had a little bit more just the punches to him. But yeah, I like what he's doing so far, and I think he's stretched his muscle, his acting muscle, more so than the other two. But obviously, The Rock is the biggest star.
You bring up a good pun there with the muscles and wrestling.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of more. But and no disrespect to John Cena, I just think that he's an amalgamation of what The Rock has done. Like he's picked the big blockbuster films, the Bumblebees of the world, and obviously Fast 9, and we'll see what he does with DC. So he's done the big blockbuster stuff, but he's tried to do smaller stuff. I remember seeing him in Trainwreck and Blockers, and he can act, but I just think that he hasn't picked the best roles to really show.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, he's trying to be a clone of The Rock. That's what people are like. You're trying to be like Rock-esque, but you're not doing your own path.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could agree to that because I feel like even going off of that, I think the most impressive acting chops wise, I think Batista is definitely it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's one I could eventually be like, oh, I'm sure he'll get nominated one day. I don't think he ever will. I'll be shocked if he is.
You never know. Oh,
you never know.
He's Ryan Johnson and him in Knives Out 2, which is going to
be
even more to show his acting abilities.
And I think,
Ryan, yep.
And I think he'll he likes to surprise audiences, and he's very what we just talked about. He's very careful about what he picks,
right,
and what he wants to take on. And he's also worked on the smaller films. There was a film that came out years ago where he worked on with the girl from Bushwick.
It's called Bushwick.
Yeah, and he was in that, and then he's taken all sorts of different projects. Dwayne Johnson. We basically know how it's going to be, like big explosions, fun,
he's the
family.
Hero of every story.
He's the hero in all the films that we watch. Batista, he's either the villain or the hero or just, the dad trying to fight zombies,
Yeah.
But, John Cena,
you can't see him.
No, I can't see him in any roles.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe James Gunn. We'll see, because they're putting a lot of stock in Peacemaker with, obviously, like you mentioned, Suicide Squad, and I think they greenlit a season 2 of Peacemaker even before the first season. So they're really banking on this to be like a likable character. So we'll see. We will see.
Do you think there's another wrestling star that's coming out on the leagues that we might have to keep an eye out for, since you are?
I don't even watch. Like I said, I don't even know who the big stars are now. I know what Roman Reigns was in Hobbs and Shaw. He's obviously the Rock of the cousin of the Rock. I don't know who Becky Lynch is. She still popular? I don't know if she's an actor at all. Actress.
She's busy in the Marine movies.
Oh, of course. That's like if you're a wrestler, you have to cut your teeth in those films if you want to.
I would say maybe like The Miz.
Yeah,
because he's got Miz and Maurice, but honestly, it's just those 3. Maybe like The Miz is like the B tier because he does all the Marine movies and he does like.
Homegirl Sasha Banks with The Mandalorian.
Oh yeah.
Maybe she'll have some more roles in the Star Wars universe or other movies in the future. She wasn't bad in Star Wars. I thought she was, she did her thing.
Okay.
Yeah, but
that's good.
That's gonna do it for this. What's up?
Why, one more question before Elliot before he goes. What has been your favorite film of the year? Because we are at just about the end. We've hit our 6-month course. Do you have a favorite film that you want to recommend to our audience before we sign off?
Yeah, I don't want to do the cliche answer because I think I mentioned it earlier, but A Quiet Place 2 is my favorite film of this year so far. And I'm trying to think of, what's Judas and the Black Messiah. That's up there as well. Daniel Kaluuya, Lakeith Stanfield were fantastic. And you know what? I'll throw this one in the mix because this is the biggest surprise for me of this year, and that is Cruella. I did not expect to like Cruella as much as I love Cruella. Like, I love that movie, man. Like, And this is coming from someone that's not even a fashionista by any source, but the fashion was on point. The score was on point. Emma Stone killed it. So that is like the biggest surprise because I was not expecting like it at all, and I ended up loving that movie. So shout out to Cruella.
Okay, you hear it. I'll see the sequel. I enjoyed it.
Matt, were you not a fan? Were you not a fan of Cruella?
I'm sick of these Disney live action remakes, damn it. Like, come on, man.
Dude,
like,
no, this
what?
is the one. This is the one. It's not even I said it when I reviewed it. It's not even a Disney movie. I did not look at it as a Disney movie at all, to be honest with you.
Wait.
For me personally.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I can... Joker, but for children and families.
Yeah, it's Joker. It's the Joker.
But it's a good movie, though. It's a great movie.
Emma Thompson is great.
Yes.
My man... what's my man's name?
Walter Heiser.
Oh, Walter Heiser was great. Mark Strong was great. The cast
Mark Strong was surprising in that movie. I was not expecting him to be in it, and I thought he was good.
I know, right? I didn't know he was in it. He's the secret sauce. Whenever Mark Strong is in something, like, okay, this is gonna be a good movie. This is gonna be good.
Secret sauce. I like it.
Sauce, everything. Kick-Ass, Kingsman, 1917. He's always kind of Shazam. He always kind of pops up in movies.
Right. Max, you're gonna have to watch it at some point.
I don't know. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this week's podcast. Tune in next week as we talk about John Cena and Cruella. Maybe he'll be in the sequel as
he's the villain.
Dog. Yeah, I want that movie now.
He's the brother that no one knew Cruella had, just like Dom.
Yeah, honestly.
But Elliot, where can the fine folks find you at? Where can they find your reviews and everything?
Yeah, man. Well, first and foremost, Mac and Kristen, thank you guys so much for having me on. Again, you guys have been doing a fantastic job of, bringing some great commentary to the movies, pop culture space, movie shows, and all that stuff. So you guys keep up the good work. You guys are killing it. So thank you guys for having me on. I'd love to, come back on again, if the schedule allows it. So you guys are awesome. So as far as, where you guys can find me, like I said up top, YouTube is where I spend a lot of my energy, time and efforts on for discussing new movies, shows, and bringing some, independent stuff to the light, to the platform and bringing it to awareness some of these more smaller independent horror comedies and whatnot. So definitely check me out there. Every week we talk, for the big blockbuster stuff, we talk Marvel, low key. Every Thursday we do live streams, and more of those to come, obviously, with the rest of the show or rest of the season. So yeah, check me out and subscribe, check me out on YouTube and of course on the other social media platforms, your Instagrams of the world, your Twitters, your Letterboxes, your TikToks, which I haven't done one in a while, but I got to get back into the swing of things because TikTok is fun sometimes. But yeah, guys, check me out on all those platforms. And again, to Mac and Chris, and thank you guys for having me on.
Of course,
no problem, man. It was very fun.
Come back. Please come back. Please come back because we love having people like you on. And what makes the show fun, we love having on, people from who are also in our community. So please come back.
For sure, definitely.
But that's going to wrap it up for today's show. I've been Mac. This has been Elliot, our special guest, and this has been Christian. And we will see you guys next time. Peace.
Bye.
Fuck you in the lane you came with. Me and you ain't on the same shit. You ain't in my lane, bitch. Nah, all that shit it fits. Rollie on my wrist. Ay, baby, you a star. I'm my only wish. I'm counting blue hundreds. I'm too money. Ay, and my little bitch, she too lovely. Yeah, hanging up and calling me right back. Ay, baby, why you calling me like that? Yeah, getting high with the seat laid back. Baby, gon' relax, yeah. Hey, they don't know the half, and no matter what happened, I got your back. Baby, that's the facts, yeah. That's the facts, yeah.